great to see everybody here. Thank you to all of our families, of course, for sending your kids this week. We have had a very energetic, some might say exhausting week together, but for me, I find it very energizing. I love to be with your kids and just spend time with them and teach them some little thing about theater. And as we go along, we're also learning about loving each other and being good friends and being part of a great team and just sharing God's love with people. Before we get started, I do just want to thank our two pros that we had this year. It was really special to work with Jessica Crawford on voice training. Woohoo! You also saw Jessica tonight roller skating around delivering the burgers with our kids, so she was our team captain for rollers. And also Danny Tagle, who wasn't able to be here tonight, but he's a fantastic choreographer who's done amazing things all over the world. You can read his little snippet of his bio here. And he was just so excited to come spend the week 2 hours every afternoon with your kids, teaching them amazing choreography. I mean, you're going to see they have learned a lot of stuff in 4 days, really 3 days, because they start on Monday, we audition them, quote unquote, we put them into a role, they get their script, and away we go. We stage the whole show, all the dances, everything in 3 days, and then Thursday and Friday we just practice. And so what you're going to be seeing today is the 4th run-through of the show. That's it. It's fast, and we just throw it together fast. I also would like to give a special shout out to our leaders this year. Now, this is a picture here from a show we did in 2013 called The Joy Story. And these tiniest little kids down here, these were the leaders this year at this camp. 10 youth kids that came along and said, I'm going to lead camp. And you're going to see them today. They're going to be dance captains with your kids, helping them keep their choreography all together. So we're super proud of these guys, and we look forward to your kids, growing up within Acts 29 and being able to be a leader down the road for us too. And we certainly hope that you enjoy Not Your Average Joe.
Hey there, dudes and dudettes. This is your fun-loving DJ Spinner at KJY, where God's Word is always true. Today you'll be hearing an old story dressed up in new clothes. It's all about a dreamer, his coat, and how God works through even the craziest circumstances to bring about his purpose. The year is 1959. The place is Papa Jake's Fries and Shakes, and it's the first day of summer. Woo!
Order, please. I want one fun summer to make it last all year. Don't try to give me another that just disappears. All day in this drive-in, all night with my best friends. I want one fun summer that never ends. Is there anything else? I want one fun summer. Not much to do. Why don't you make it a double and get yourself one too? All day in this drive-in, working for the weekend. I want one fun summer that never ends.
Now, Papa Jake had a dozen kids, and they ran the joint, keeping the fries fried and the shakes shook. Business was booming, but one young girl always seemed to be missing.
Hey, where's Joe?
Beats me. I bet he got his nose in a book.
Or his head in the clouds.
We do all the work, but Dad likes him best.
He thinks he's something special.
He thinks he's a big shot.
We think he's dreamy.
Has anyone seen
Joe? No!
Today's a gift from God above. So settle and sit back, have fun. All day this driving, it's hard work, no denying. want fries with that? Yeah!
Delivery!
And so this is how the adventure begins, on an ordinary day with an ordinary delivery for a not-so-ordinary boy with an extraordinary dream.
I said delivery! Hey, who's in charge around here? Which one uses, Papa Jake?
That's our dad, but he's out of town. These are my sisters.
Hi, I'm Annette.
I'm Cubby.
I'm JD, and I guess I'm the head honcho right now.
Well, Miss Honcho, sign here. This will be the last shipment of the summer, so, make it last. I'll be back to pick up my card in September.
This was a downer for the diner. They were now short-handed and short-supplied.
JD, this is our last shipment, and summer's our busiest time.
What if we run out of food?
What if we run out of cooks? It's almost the afternoon. It's the afternoon, and I haven't heard a peep from Joe.
I've got to get me a nicer sounding alarm clock.
Wake up, you've been sleeping on the job again.
I can't help it, JD. I try to get a good night's sleep, but God keeps sending me these dreams, like the one I had last night.
Here we go again.
Wait. Wait, but this one was different. It was in CinemaScope and Technicolor and 3D. And there was a sun and the moon and 11 stars. And they were all bowing down to me.
Joe, what did God tell you about this dream? Are you the boss of us? Are we supposed to bow down?
In your dreams. What do you think Dad would say?
I'm back! And I got myself a special delivery from Dad, Papa Jake.
Hey, Maxie, look and see. Is there a letter in your bag? For me?
No, but I do got a parcel and a letter for, Master Joe.
Master?
I don't write him, I just deliver him. Toodaloo.
Joe was only concerned with the box, but the letter was about to rock and roll JD's world.
Dad says he'll be away all summer. He's opening up a Papa Jake's West. He's put Joe in charge here at home, and in honor of his promotion, he's given him...
Dad's prized leather jacket out of sight.
No!
That's the last straw.
He thinks he's such a big deal.
We've got to do something about Joe.
Joe, he's special, he's the only one with the colorful coat out of all 12 suns. We're connected to the Lord above, he's not your average Joe. We all know Joe, whoa, yes, we all know Joe, whoa, and everybody knows, whoa, this dreamer's not your average Joe. We all know Joe, whoa, yes, we all know Joe, whoa, and everybody knows, whoa, this dreamer's not your average Joe. Hey, big dreamer, what you dreaming about? Who's in, who's bowing down? Just a little brother always hanging around. He's not your average Joe. We all know Joe. Whoa, yes, we all know Joe. Whoa, get your head over the clouds. Say, come on, Joe, now don't be proud. Surely your mistake about the bowing down. Lately I wouldn't be messing around. You're gonna find yourself kicked out. We all know Joe. Whoa, yes, we all know Joe. Whoa, and everybody knows. Whoa, this dreamer's not your average Joe. We all know Joe. Whoa, yes, we all know Joe. Whoa, and everybody knows. Whoa, this dreamer's not your average Joe. Everybody knows. Whoa, this dreamer's not your average Joe.
It had already been a wigged out morning, but the day was only getting started, and a big change was blowing into the wind.
Admiration can be so exhausting. I think I need a nap before lunch.
Just then, the big change arrived.
Bonsai Beach buddies, we're on our way to Ferris Point and we need some sustenance. You got any?
Unfortunately, we only have fries and shakes.
Gnarly. We'll take a dozen. Each.
JD, we hardly have enough food as it is. They'll ruin us.
No, they'll help us. I have an idea. Excuse me, but who are you? My name's Hot Dog, but my friends call me Hot Dog. All right, Miss Dog. We'd like to offer you a special deal today, 20 fries and shakes in exchange for giving that dreamer over there a one-way ride to Ferris Point. Okay, that seems fair. Hey, Snow Cone, pick up Snoozin' Boy here with the floaties. But first take off his jacket.
Here you go, bro. He won't need no leather where he's going.
Bonsai mates, Ferris Point or bust. Whoa, did you see that?
I didn't know those could move. Gnarly, man.
Whoa, that wave must be like a mile high, dude.
Sun's coming out. Then we must be getting close.
Where's the Pharaoh?
Don't know. You mean Ferris Point, man?
Yeah, Ferris Point.
I wonder what'll happen if he wakes up.
The day had started out with Joe waking up from a dream about his future, but now it seemed like his dreams are crashing down like the waves on Ferris Point.
Where am I?
Hey, dude. You hitched a ride with us to Ferris Point.
What's that?
Well, you see, up there is a lot of sun. Down there is a lot of sand. It's called the beach, dude.
But where's the diner? Where are my brothers and sisters? And where's my jacket?
They're all Splitsville, man. Looks like your relations wanted to send you on a permanent vacation.
Mellow out. You may learn to like it here.
Aloha, Joe.
Excuse me, have we met before?
He's so dreamy.
If this is another dream, someone else is going to have to explain it to me.
And just when Joe felt like nobody in the world could ever feel as bad as he did, he met somebody who felt worse.
Get your ice-cold drinks. Best liquid refreshment on the beach. Special today at Coco's Walk-in Watering Hole.
Perfect, I'm parched. Hey, over here, I'll take one.
At your service, what would you like?
How about a grape knee-high?
Don't carry it.
Bubble up?
Nope.
RC double cola?
Sorry. Here's what we do have.
This? This is a plastic bottle of water. Who in the right mind is going to buy bottled water?
No one, apparently. Business has been pretty slow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here's your water back.
Keep it. I don't have change anyways.
That's lucky for me. I don't have any money. I'm Joe, by the way. Confused and lost.
Glad to meet you, Joe. I'm Coco, broke and stuck.
Looks like we both need some direction.
Yeah, I just want to help people out, but I'm never sure how to go about it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. My dad always says to trust God with the future. He's always at work, even if you can't see what he's up to.
Your dad sounds like a pretty smart man.
He is. I sure wish he was here right now. I could use his advice. I've got so many questions. This is a surprise. It's hard to believe.
I have to wonder why this is happening to me.
Do I know better? I'd like to think I do.
But I know God knows. I trust His plan for me. Yes, I know God knows what's best for me and you. God knows He sees what all He's planned for me. Only He knows what all of this means. When some may doubt, I choose to believe. God knows He sees. I trust His plan for me. I trust His plan for me.
Coco, I know God knows. He sees me right here at this beach. I don't know what it's all about, but I trust His plan for me.
I trust His plan for me too, Joe. Make way for the great kahuna.
The great kahuna?
His real name is Malvin, but don't call him that to his face.
What does he do?
He pretty much runs the beach. Just do whatever he says.
The great kahuna will now question the stranger in the cheap lays and puzzled expression.
I think she means you.
Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Mr. Kahuna.
Please, you may call me Great.
Thank you. Thank you, great. And you can call me Joe.
So, Joe, how long have you been on my beach?
I don't know.
How did you get here? How long will you stay? When will you leave?
I don't know. I really don't.
Well, it appears you don't know much about anything, do you, Joe?
Well, my friend Coco and I were just talking about that. We're trying to trust God with the things we don't know.
Oh, him. There's not much need for God on this beach. After all, we do have me. Captain Shuby.
Yes, sir?
I charge this confused man to your care. Find him a job that will give him some sense of direction.
I'll do my best, sir.
Joe, this is Captain Shuby, my deputy. You'll be working for her now. Good luck. Even with your God, you'll need it.
Coco, I know God. Wait. Wow, Coco, imagine. I've been here less than a day and I already have a job.
Don't get too excited, Joe. Kahuna doesn't treat his workers very well. Mostly they feel like slaves.
Well, that won't be me. See, I'm going to be the best worker they've ever seen.
So, Joe, what can you do?
Well, I've been told I can interpret dreams really well.
Oh, that's useful. Well, since we don't have any openings for a dream interpreter at the present, you will have to be assigned a different position on the beach.
Like what? A VP? A CEO?
No, a TF.
What's a TF?
Towel folder.
And so Joe began the most menial of jobs, but he was way grateful for his new digs in this strange place. And so he started each day by thanking God.
It's not my dream job, but it's the one that I've got. I'm going non-stop, giving more than I got. Been working all day for just a little pay. Let me have overtime, but it's all okay. I'll be faithful, faithful to this job. I'll be thankful, thankful to my God. It's not my dream job, but it's the one that I've got.
Many days went by, and then Joe made good on his promise. He was the most prima worker they'd ever seen.
Excellent performance, Joe. You set a towel folding record. In recognition of your work, I'm promoting you to surfboard waxer. Carry on.
And Joe tackled his new job as before, with off-the-charts awesomeness.
It's not my dream job, but it's the one that I've got. I'm going non-stop, giving more than I've got. Been working all day for just a little fun. A lot of hard work, but I'm having fun. I'll be thankful, thankful to this job. I'll be thankful, thankful to my God. It's not my dream job, but it's the one that I've got.
The days had turned to weeks, and Joe was becoming famous as the best worker on the beach. But some of his colleagues were jealous and falsely accused him of stealing.
I won't give them back.
And so we screamed, "Ah!" The captain burned with anger, and Joe was put in the Surfside Slammer. But even in jail, the Lord was with him.
Whatever work is here to do, I know my God will see me through. No matter what He says before me, my God is with me, my God is for me.
Sometime later, two vendors on the beach displeased Kahuna, the hot dog maker and the snow cone cupbearer. They were thrown in jail with Joe. While there, they both had dreams.
Can you interpret our dreams for us?
God will help me.
Joe predicted a good outcome for snow cone, but for hot dog, not so much. And soon, news of Joe's abilities reached Kahuna, and he sent for him.
It's not my dream job, but it's the one that I've got. I'm going non-stop, giving more than I've got. Been working all year, I'm sure the end is near. I've got enough work for us all to share. I'll be faithful, faithful to this job. I'll be thankful, thankful to my God. It's not my dream job, but it's the one that I've got.
Joe, you've been released. The great Kahuna wants to see you now.
I'll be faithful, faithful to this job. I'll be thankful, thankful to my God. It's not my dream job, but it's the one that I've got.
The sun was not shining quite so brightly over Ferris Point anymore. The summer was ending, clouds were gathering, and an ill wind had begun to blow. Kahuna had spent many fitful nights haunted by his dreams, and so he summoned Joe to ask for help. It had been many months since Joe had stood before the great Kahuna, needing a job and a place to stay. But now, Kahuna needed something from Joe.
So, everyone says when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. Is that so?
Actually, that's not true.
It's not?
No. God is the one who interprets dreams. God will reveal what it means.
Then I understand there is a need for God on this beach. Now I'll tell you about my dream.
And so Kahuna shared his dream with Joe. The dream was indeed strange and perplexing. Every creature on the beach was starving, and none of the coconut trees had coconuts. And God revealed to Joe what it meant.
The time of fun and sun may only be for a season, but it's drawing to a close.
What can we do?
Can't you hear the thunder in the distance? A storm is on its way, and it will cause much destruction, not only on the beach, but throughout the mainland. Food and water will be in short supply.
What can we do?
We must begin to prepare immediately.
And so we will. Captain Shuby, gather everyone together. And Joe, I'm promoting you to lifeguard. You will direct the operation. Now where's the girl who sells the oddly contained water?
Coco's walk-in watering hole at your service, your kahuna ship.
Good. Coco, you will set up the food and water stations. You'll need to help a lot of people once the storm is past.
You picked the right girl for the job, sir.
I knew God had a plan for me. Joe, do you think we're gonna make it?
My dad always says that God is closest when the hour is darkest.
Then he must be right by our sides.
The storm had ended, and as the sun rose, so did everyone's hope. And they slowly began to rebuild their community, not on shifting sand, but this time on solid rock.
When I hear, I know my God is near. He won't forget me when the storm is raging. When I hear, I know my God is near. He won't leave me when the earth is shaking. Rain or shine, he'll follow through, 'cause all his promises are true. When I hear, oh, there's nothing to fear. I know my God is near. Yes, I know my God is near.
When I call you, you will answer. In trouble, you're right there with me. No, never will I be alone, because everywhere I go, wherever storms blow.
When I hear, I know my God is near. He won't forget me when the storm is raging. When I hear, I know my God is near. He won't leave me when the earth is shaking. Rain or shine, he'll follow through, 'cause all his promises are true. When I hear, oh, there's nothing to fear. I know my God is near. Yes, I know my God is near.
No matter the weather, you're my shelter, my rock of refuge. If I'm afraid, I'll call your name, and you hear me every time, because I'm your child. Don't worry about anything. No matter what happens, tell God about everything. Ask and pray and give thanks to Him. Philippians 4:6.
When I hear, I know my God is near. He won't forget me when the storm is raging. When I hear, I know my God is near. He won't leave me when the earth is shaking. Rain or shine, he'll follow through, 'cause all his promises are true. When I hear, oh, there's nothing to fear. I know my God is near. Yes, I know my God is near. Yes, I know my God is near.
The beach community had never felt more like a community. They found out the harsher the winds, the stronger they stood together. Hot Dog and Snow Cone ran a food pantry, and Coco could not keep enough bottled water in stock. Even Captain Shuby and the Kahuna helped out.
What do I do with these towels, Shuby?
Fold them, sir, fold them.
And directing them all was Joe. He was more than just a lifeguard on the beach. Now even people on the mainland are hearing that there is food and supplies at the beach because of Joe. Everyone now called him governor. Quite a change for the dreamer from the drive-in. In fact, he had a hard time even remembering that former life, until one day that former life arrived on the beach. It was the crew from Papa Jake's Fries and Shakes, and they were hungry.
Welcome to Pharaoh's Point, everybody. It looks like you've traveled a long way.
We have. We used to run a drive-in up north. I'm JD. These are my sisters.
We're very hungry and we heard you have spare supplies.
We do. I'm sure we could help you. If you go talk to our governor, he'll make sure all your needs are met.
Now Joe was seated high up on the lifeguard tower, and as soon as he saw his brothers and sisters, he recognized them. But they didn't know it was Joe. He was tanned, his clothes are different, and the sun was in their eyes.
I see you have traveled a great distance. Have you come to find food?
Yes, Governor. We had food before, now it's completely gone. We used to run a drive-in restaurant up north, but then the storm destroyed it.
I'm so sorry. Was anyone hurt?
No, everyone made it out on time. We heard that somehow you knew the storm would come and that you saved supplies.
We are hoping to buy some.
Our food isn't for sale, it's free.
Free?
This is my assistant, Coco. She's in charge of the food and water station.
I'm pleased to meet you.
I'm afraid we may not have any extra food at this time.
Governor, what are you saying?
Coco and I will check the inventory, and please come back in the morning and we'll give you our decision.
We understand. Thank you, sir. We'll see you then.
This was a turn of events that Joe did not expect. He was deeply surprised to see his family after so much time, and even more surprised how that made him feel.
Joe, why did you say that? We pledged that we would help all strangers in need.
They aren't strangers, Coco. They're my brothers and sisters.
Your brothers and sisters, you told me that they never wanted to see you again, that they had sent you away while your father was out of town.
That's all true, but that was when the summer first started. They seem to have changed.
They didn't recognize you.
No, they didn't. I'm sure I've changed as well.
What are you going to do?
I'm not sure. The sun has just set. Maybe I'll just sit on the beach for a while and count the stars. I used to be really good at that once.
Counting stars, huh? It might be easier from up in your tower.
No, I think I can see God a lot more clearly down here.
But you're on your knees.
Exactly. Coco, I've been praying, and I'm starting to realize that even though my brothers and sisters did something terrible to me, God must have wanted to use it for good.
God brought you here so that you could provide them and us with food and save all of our lives. I think you know what God wants you to say to them.
Yes, I do. God has forgiven me for all the wrong things I've done, and that makes me want to forgive my brothers and sisters.
They were the ones who sent you here, but it was God at work all along, and I can see He's been working in you too, Joe.
Let's pray together, Coco.
And so Joe and Coco prayed through the night. And as a new day dawned over the beach, Joe knew what he had to do. Many had come that morning to ask for food. Groups of friends, several families, and an older man who came asking for food for an entire village up north. But they waited patiently as JD and his siblings stood once again before the governor.
Thank you for seeing us again this morning, sir. We hope you've reconsidered our request.
I had to take stock of many things last night, but our storehouse is full, overflowing, actually, and so I'm happy to give you whatever you need.
Thank you, sir. We'll spread word that the governor is the most generous ruler in the land.
No, JD, I'm not who you think I am. I'm not a ruler. I'm not even from this beach.
You're not?
I'm Joe, your brother, the one you sent to Pharaoh's Point so many years ago.
I don't believe it. Oh, Joe, please forgive us.
We all wondered what happened to you.
JD said it would teach you a lesson.
I learned so many lessons.
And so Joe descended his tower and approached his family that he'd not seen for so long. They were terrified, but Joe's words were full of kindness and love.
It was God who saved lives, the lives of people on the beach, people on the mainland, and especially your lives. Remember how Great-Grandpa Babe used to say that the world was going to be blessed through our family?
I do remember. Forgive us, Joe. What we did was very wrong.
Yes, your actions were meant to hurt, but God meant them for good. Now, tell me about our father. Is he still living? Did he survive the storm?
Indeed, he did.
The man who had come to ask for food for an entire village was none other than Papa Jake himself.
Papa, we didn't know what happened to you.
Well, when I finally got back from the storm, the restaurant was gone, and so were all of you. I prayed that you found someplace safe to stay. And then I heard about the story about this beach and a wise man who could listen to dreams and understand what they meant, and he stored up food so that everybody came to him was saved.
No, Papa. It was God who interpreted the dreams. It was God who told us to store food, and it was God who saved lives. God has been with me all this time, just like how you told me he was with you.
Yes, and he brought us back together again.
Papa Jake, I invite you and your very interesting family to my beach.
Joe, who's that guy?
His name's Calvin, but don't call him that to his face.
I think you should load up what's left of your fries and chicks and move here. You can rebuild your establishment right next to my hut.
Papa Jake's Fries and Shakes South.
I invite you to live on the best part of the beach and enjoy plenty of fun in the sun.
See what happens when we trust God with the future?
Yep, he's always at work, even if you can't see what he's up to.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
The story is far from over. Great son that one day born into his family. His name is Jesus, and like he was loved by his father, hated by his brothers, and surrounded by evil people who intended to harm him. He was named Jesus. Like God intended Joseph suffering for good, God intended Jesus suffering for the greatest good of all time, our salvation.
Some days are always sunny, and those days sometimes we can wonder if it ends this way. Are we gonna be alright? Some days are harder than others, and those days sometimes we can wonder if it ends this way. Are we gonna be alright? We know God brings some things together, and our God is faithful forever. When something was meant to hurt We know God works all things together. Our God is faithful forever. When something was meant to hurt, our God can turn it to good. Even when things are as bad as they seem, we know God works in all things for me. God works in all things. We know God works in all things. According to his purpose. Romans 8:28. We know God works all things together. Our God is faithful forever. When something was meant to hurt, our God can turn it to good. Even when things are as bad as they seem, we know God works in all things for me. God works in all things. We know God works in all things.
I want to chat for a few minutes about Joe. Not that Joe, not our 1950s Joe, but the Joe that inspired it all. And some of you I know are going to be familiar with the story, and maybe you're just familiar with bits and pieces, and maybe you know the whole thing, and you're like, could tell me even better than I could tell you, and that's okay. But just to kind of go over what we might take away from this story, a couple lessons we might learn. I mean, as a church, we've been going through a bit of a series. We've noticed in Scripture that this idea of being blessed comes up again and again and again, and it's in our story too. It's in the life of Joseph that we find in Genesis. Well, most of Genesis, but like a third of the book all contains Joseph's life in some way or another. So, what should we take away from this tale? Well, we had Joseph, just like we saw on stage, the Joseph of Genesis, man. His brothers, they didn't like him. They sold him off to a group who were on their way down to Egypt, though. And on the way, he ended up in Egypt, and he ended up working for some guy, and the guy eventually had him thrown in jail under false pretenses. Absolutely. He ended up in jail falsely accused of a crime he didn't commit. And while he was in jail, in Genesis 39, we read this. It says, while Joseph was there in the prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison, and he was made responsible for all that was done there. And the warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care, because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. Did you catch that last bit? The Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. It's a very nice, succinct way of putting this. God blessed Joseph, which might seem like an odd thing to say, like, hey, the guy was in prison, and he was in prison falsely, and we would say he's blessed. I mean, in most people's books, that would be a curse, right? But no, Joseph was blessed there, even in prison. God blessed Joseph and blessed his work. Now, from there, Joseph was eventually released Turned out he had a handy little side gig. He could interpret dreams. And I know we've all had those dreams, right? Where we wake up and we're like, that was the craziest thing. There's no way that, and you go all day going, what could that mean? What could that mean? What could that mean? And nobody knows what they mean. I mean, dreams are just nonsense. But yet, somehow Joseph could tell people what their dreams meant. He knew. God gave him insight. And so the king had one of those nights where he had one of those wild dreams and he didn't know what it meant. And he had paid people. Can you imagine that? Having that as your job, dream interpreter? Well, he went to his dream interpreters, all the people he paid a good money to tell him what they meant, and they couldn't do it. They were stumped. So eventually they find Joseph, this little guy from jail. And he comes to the king and he tells the king, yeah, this is what it means. Why? Because God had blessed Joseph and had given him that ability to understand and told him what the dreams meant. And in this dream, it meant that there would be incredible prosperity, so much grain, so much crops, and they wouldn't know what to do with it all, like more than they could eat. But then there would be so few crops. Years of famine would follow. So they should prepare in the years of plenty, and that's what they did. And the king actually said, Joseph, that's you do it. Go ahead, get the plan underway, and he did. Joseph got to work, building silos, storing grain, directing the people working on the project. Then the famine hit, and it was severe. We read in Genesis 41 that when the famine had spread over the whole country, Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold grain to the Egyptians, for the famine was severe throughout Egypt. And all the world came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph, because the famine was severe everywhere. Did you catch that? It was everywhere. And everyone was coming to Egypt to get the grain. Right? The neighbors of Egypt caught wind. Oh, there's grain in Egypt. Let's go. And so they go. And this eventually included Joseph's own family. The ones who had sold him away and had tricked their dad into thinking he was dead. Now they were going to Egypt looking for food. Now, there's a lot of backstory beyond Joseph's family, beyond him himself. And we don't have time to get into all of it tonight. But if we go back to his great-great-grandfather, was a guy named Abraham. And Abraham received a special promise from God. Abraham was told that he would be blessed to be a blessing. God would bless all the nations through the abundance of blessing bestowed on Abraham. Now, often we think blessing, we think, oh man, that means money, that means wealth, this guy. And sure enough, he was wicked rich, like stinking rich. Like he had more crops and more cattle, more everything than you could imagine. But more than that, what we read again and again and again about Abraham is that God was with him. See, the greatest sign of blessing isn't just the money that he had, it isn't just the signs of wealth, it was the presence of God in his life. The first thing to understand about blessing is that it's presence. It's God present in your life. And God was with Abram. And then God was with Abraham's son Isaac. And then God was with Abraham's grandson Jacob. And here God was with Abraham's great-grandson Joseph. Again, because we read, the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success. Now, wait, there's more. God said that all nations would be blessed through Abraham's family, and God's care and presence would not be fully contained within Abraham's descendants. It would extend all over, even as we see to wicked old Egypt. You see, in Hebrew writings, Egypt is a little bit of a shorthand for like the bad guys and the bad place. And so, yet, here was Joseph amongst the bad guys. Here is God saving all of Egypt, all of these bad guys. In fact, God was so at work in Egypt, so overseeing it, so caring and providing. He was blessing them absolutely because of Joseph at work. God could have just spared Abraham's family, could have just saved Joseph. Joseph, maybe he could have had the dream himself. He could have stayed at home. He could have known about the famine. He could have stored grain, but that wasn't God's plan. His plan was to save all of Egypt too. And, as we read, all the world came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph because the famine was everywhere. So not only did God choose to save Abraham's family, and not only did God choose to save all of Egypt, he saved all of the neighboring nations too. The whole world, in fact, blessed by God at work in Egypt, because Joseph was the conduit for God's blessing. So what do we do with this? A couple things to consider before we head out of here tonight. First, just as the Lord was with Joseph, giving him success, if your success is from God, God being at work and present in your life, then your success isn't just to benefit you. It's for the blessing of the world, of the neighbors of our community. That's what we're trying to do in part here this week, right? We're trying to take our talents together and our joy of being together and just everything that we've experienced from God and share it not just with all of you, but with our friends, our family, our neighbors, our community, anyone who might be willing and interested in coming and hearing. And so may you find increasing opportunities to bless others. And also, know that God doesn't just want to bless a select few. Sometimes there's this notion that God only has in mind to have a few people blessed. But actually we see here his heart is for not just for his family, but also for those who are typically hostile. And all the neighbors who might be in all surrounding. See, God cannot be contained, and neither can his goodness, his mercy, his love, or his presence. His desire is to bless you and everyone who would be willing to come.